Hello, everybody. This is Party PD, and welcome finally to the Steam release of Runescape. This also includes the release of Runescape OSRS, from what I understand. So, now that Steam is finally accepting Runescape, and now that Runescape is finally on Steam, there's a lot of things that a lot of new players are going to have to learn and to sort of understand to end up coming out from the brink and trying to maintain their Runescape ability. The big thing is that a lot of new players will be coming from the new tutorial island, which I believe we might be able to see people there. I'm not 100% sure on how many people are going to be kicking around in Ashdale all at the same time. But this guide video is going to explain skills, as well as what ones will be available to free members and what ones will be available to non-free members. Looks like it's instanced, so we'll just go back to Birth Open. So, with that being said, this guide is going to give you not a completely comprehensive guide on what most of these skills will do, but we'll have some for beginners skill based introductions for everybody. The first thing that we should also talk about right off the get go is lodestones. Lodestones allow you to teleport from any location so long as you have discovered the lodestone at that location. That ability is in this top left corner of your bottom left corner of your map called Home Teleport. And as you can see here, I have every lodestone unlocked. Some of them are a little bit more difficult to get to, whereas some of them are locked by quests as well as skills required to get there, one of which being Privitus, one of the bigger elven cities that require a large quest chain as well as a decent amount of skills in order to get to. Same goes for Tier 1, and I believe Menaphos as well, because Sofaham is the place next to Menaphos, but you need to actually do. Actually, no, I think you could still just walk directly over there. Mainly, the main one that's gated off is Perfidious and Tier 1. But that's not what we're talking about today. We'll talk about teleportation methods in our next episode. Today's episode will be purely about skills. Now, the biggest thing about skills that people not really don't understand for se, but more or less what people don't get about too much about skills is that there are skills that make up your overall level as a combat person, as well as your overall skills that make it to where you have a skill based total. So as you can see here, my skill base total is 2830, meaning I have 2,830 levels worth of levels here, as well as this boosted experience, which is 16.1 mil, which would be 29.66 or 2966 for my total level. As you can see here, total number of levels gained across all skills, total number of virtual levels up to 120 and 150 for invention across all skills. Now, when I was talking about the combat skills, your combat skills are encompassed by all of your combat-based related things, which will allow you to total up to a combat level of 138. Your combat level does not actually reflect your effectiveness in battle. Your combat level just means you are maxed in your combat level versus you have all defense, or you have all strength, or you have all attack. There are scenarios in which back in the old days when there was no OSRS and that was the only RuneScape there was, you would run into a lot of people who would call themselves defense pures or ranged pures. Those people usually have it to where they were 99 in defense, range, strength, attack, etc. before they were in anything else and decided to stay that way. But let's go ahead and talk about in depth about some of these combat skills. Your first combat skill is going to be known as attack. This grants the player usage of melee weapons with high accuracy, thus increasing the number of hits dealt to opponent during any given period of time. Since more of the player's hits will be successful, the player's opponent will incur more damage per any given period of time. Stronger weapons will also require higher levels of attack in order to equip it. This also grants access to melee abilities. So if you're running on the newer version of RuneScape, you will see down here that you have this cast bar. This cast bar is reflective based on what weapons you currently have equipped. And as I've stated, it gives you access to melee abilities. These melee abilities are anything you see here within this cast bar. And depending on which way you like to play, you can have it to where your cast is automatic, which is called Combat Mode Revolution. The next one would be Combat Full Manual, which is you're basically just clicking on your keyboard yourself or clicking on the mouse itself in order to do that. Your other one would be Standard Revolution, which would be this one as well. So that is your explanation of attack. Next, let's go into strength. Strength is used to basically incur the higher amounts of potential damage you could do to an enemy. So during melee, higher strength increases the player's maximum potential damage to an opponent for each successful hit. Stronger members' weapons may also require higher levels to equip. Strength is also needed for various agility-based shortcuts, which also grants access to certain melee abilities. Now, you don't have to worry about agility if you are playing as a non-member. Agility is only used for the member's side of things. Strength, however, is used at all points in times. All combat skills are available to everyone, excluding summoning, from what I understand. Yes, summoning is not a free skill. We are talking about the free skills today. In our next episode, we will talk about the member skills. Defense, which is your next combat-based skill. This allows the player to wear stronger armor, increasing their chances of avoiding hits and reducing damage taken. This will also give you access to defensive abilities, much like these that you see here. These will allow you to be a more shield warrior in a sense. So if you wanted to be a sort of paladin, if you want to call it that way, you could then equip a shield and use that shield to end up defending your team. If you are, say, in a raid, or if you are running as a 5-man stack during some sort of PvP adventure. The shield grants you a lot of available utility, whereas just being a two-handed melee does not give you that amount of utility. The defensive abilities also come with constitution-based abilities. Constitution allows players to sustain more damage without dying. A player's base life points are 100 times their constitution level. All combat skills train Constitution at a rate of 1.33 XP per 10 damage done, with a few exceptions, such as experience is not gained for any skill in the Stealing Creation minigame, which we will cover later as well on certain minigame episodes. This will grant the access to Constitution abilities. So when I mention grants access, as you can see here, Guthix's Blessing requires you to be level 85 Constitution in order to use. So some skills are gated by the fact that your constitution has to be a certain level. After your constitution gets a little bit higher, which you will most likely do as you will be doing a lot of combat in the world of RuneScape, your constitution will gradually increase, allowing you to use newer abilities. Same with defense, which will allow you to use some of these stronger crowd control based abilities. Your next combat skill is Prayer. Prayer is a very important combat reducing or combat enhancing scenario skill, but it is still a combat skill. This allows players to pray for assistance in combat, such as stat boosts, partial immunity from attacks. Effects last until the player runs out of prayer points or their prayers are turned off. This can also be used to repair gravestones with higher levels with a higher level players can also wear god robes, spirit shields, that including the blessed variations and temple knight armor. What this armor does is that it also gives you a prayer bonus. As you can see here, there are multiple types of prayers, but of course the altered prayers are along the members side of things. Let's go straight to the prayer window and show you what I'm talking about. These are your ancient curses. This is something that you will unlock once you become a member. These ancient curses will allow you to do a lot of various other things on top of what you want to do. Here you can also set your quick presets for your prayers. So as you see here, I have a prayer set for quick prayer melee. And what this does is that if you have your quick cast bar, it allows you to quickly select your prayers by just clicking here. Your prayer level is still the big indication on what prayers you can access. There are curses as well as, I don't think they're called blessings, but there's only 2 prayer books actually. I don't know why I'm talking about like there's more than one. There's some that you'll have to unlock through quests as well as some that you'll just have automatically. So the ones you'll have automatically is in your standard prayer book, which gives you protect from melee, protect from missiles, and protect from magic. It's very important to know that there is a difference from protect from magic and protect from missiles. Missiles is protecting you from ranged attacks, as you can see here with this range-based icon, while protect from magic is still protecting you from magic. Just because magic missile is technically a spell when you look at your spell book, I'm in the wrong spell book. Just because you could see that there's a different set of spells available doesn't mean that because that magic missile is flying at you, that it's exactly what that is. You just that's basically what that one entails. The next one is magic. Magic is also another very important spell book, or a very important thing to have in the magic allows players to cast spells, basically. The big thing about magic is that it's one of the highest DPS skill baselines available for the world of RuneScape. You'll see a lot of people who end up doing bossing either play in magic or play in melee. Or there's some scenarios where playing in range will do you the best good. But when it comes down to there's a tank tanking, let's say, Virago, as well as etc., ideal situation, many players will end up using magic as this allows them to deal the highest amount of damage per second, DPS. So this will allow players to cast spells, including teleports, enchantments, through the different types of runes, increases the high magic-based attack accuracy, and reduces the chance for magic-based attacks to hit the player. So the higher your mage level, the more mage resistance that you have. And these spells will indicate here that you have various types of baseline spells, as well as 2 other spell books available, but those spell books are only set to members only, which we will talk about in the next episode when we go over our members only skills. Here is our teleportation window as well. Some of these will also only be members only teleports, but you'll have access to all the baseline teleports, as well as some of these baseline skills. I believe you have almost all of them, excluding enchanting Onyx. Onyx is, I believe, one of the member gems. Next, you have Constitution, like we already talked about. That is one of your other non-member skills. And now that we're done with combat, all those skills will add up to your total combat level. So train up those skills and get those skills moving, and you'll be able to see your combat level rise in no time. I don't know why I stopped here. My apologies. But that'll be the end for this first part of the episode. We're already 13 minutes in, and I don't want to extend the video longer than it needs to be. So without further ado, thank you so much for watching the first episode of Non-Member Skills Explained Combat Edition, and we will see you around the next time for the next episode of the Non-Member Skills, or for part 2 of Non-Member Skills. This is Party Petey from Runescape, signing off. Hello everybody, thank you for watching this first episode of our RuneScape guides. This one will be entitling most of the skills, and so will the next couple guides coming out for the next couple days. After that, we will be going into some in-depth discussion on some of the skills, as well as discussing some mini-games, as well as most ideal places to train those skills. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you thoroughly enjoyed. Make sure you stay around for some more RuneScape content, and we'll see you next time in the world of Gielinor. Thanks for coming by. Welcome, Steam users.